What's going on, watchers? It's your boy Will, and I'm your host this week for the Marvelite podcast. And with me, we have our boy Michael.
What's going on, people? Glad to be back on the Marvelite. It's been one or two episodes I have been on.
Okay, so the first thing is that what was it? Secret Empire just ended recently, and we have Legacy coming very speedily down the pipe.
Whoop whoop, Legacy.
And Generations is popping out its little one shots. I'll read Iron Man at some point, but I have not heard good things. And speaking of things not being heard to be good, same thing for Legacy. And it's doing. I was looking at an article before we started the show about how about like 11 reasons that you're wrong about it, and a lot of them were kind of weak. It's like, and there are great creative teams behind it. It's like the Marvel sales wouldn't be tanking the way they are, and they wouldn't need to do Legacy in the first place.
Roasted, Will. Damn.
I'm just saying, man. Like, I don't have an issue with like things kind of going back to the quote unquote status quo. I guess for some of them, it's not even going to be
back to how they were.
Yeah, like Tony Stark's not coming back, but I mean Cap is going back to being himself, I guess. And I think Mark Waid is picking up that run, but I don't know. I'm really hesitant. I'm behind on a lot of Marvel books. I just finished Ultimates 2, which is really good, and I recommend that people read it because I really like Al Ewing's writing in that series. But I mean, what do you think about the whole thing about Legacy just kind of being set up to fail? I don't know, it feels kind of cash grabby to me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm getting the same vibe as I have been with these previous recent Marvel comic events. They're just trying to get people back to where, you know, they like those characters how they were before, and they kind of have changed over time, and they're trying to get them like, oh look, they're back to how they were, it'll be great, we hope.
And I think one of the things is even though they're kind of shuffling around their staff, they're not, it doesn't seem like, and they have some interesting ideas, like the Spirits of Vengeance looks kind of interesting because it's like Ghost Rider, Blade, and someone else who I'm forgetting. But so some of the ideas could be interesting, like Avengers 1 million BC or 1 billion, something like that. Which I guess that could be that's an interesting idea for a one shot.
We'll see. Honestly, I've just kind of lost faith in a lot of the recent events. And I've heard some good things in some of them, but for the most part, they haven't really been very effective for me, or I enjoy them all too much.
Yeah, and I don't even want to discuss the whole like talking about like agendas and stuff like that. I just don't think right now the place that Marvel's at comic wise has as strong a writing staff as some of they could be. I think there needs to be, I think every couple of years you need to kind of shuffle people around to get new and fresh ideas, even if they're doing like a really good job on the run. Like, I think you need to move people around and add more people in, which I think they've been trying to do, but I don't know if they've been making the best decisions. I guess we can kind of talk about that when in the other topic is there's kind of a mini event that'll be coming up soon called Venomverse, which absolutely everyone asked for except for nobody.
Come on, man. You don't know about Spider-Man properties? You got to milk them out as much as you can.
Yeah, and we'll get to Sony later on. But we get to Sony probably right after this. But so there are a bunch of different tie-ins for it, and there's going to be like a Black Panther Venom. But there is an 8-page short story called, I'm trying to find the name for it. But it's about this a Nigerian girl. Oh, it's called Blessing in Disguise. By this writer and doctor named, and I am probably about to fuck this all the way up. It's a Nigerian writer named Nnedi Okorafor. I'm probably saying that horribly wrong, and I feel bad. But it features a girl named Ngozi, a name that means blessing, and it also includes the Venom symbiote, Black Panther, and the Rhino. And she said that Ngozi was made in the likeness of one of the Chibok girls. I had a picture of the missing girls with Boko Haram in Nigeria. And I think it takes place in Lagos. So looking at the repertoire of the woman writing this book, this actually might get me to pick up a book from Age of Venomverse. Because one of probably the 70 that will be coming out all around this, kind of like same thing they did with Spider-Verse. Probably gonna get an Edge of Venomverse and all that shit. But looking at this writer's track record, I think she seems like the entire opposite of the writer for America. Do you know about America Chavez and her whole book and all of that?
I've heard quite a bit. So I'm not too sure exactly how it'll turn out, but if it's gonna be very similar, you think it's gonna be the opposite, eh?
I think writing wise, they picked like that girl's antithesis, because the writer for America, I think she's written a book or two, and the dialogue for America, which has somehow made it to like, I think it's on issue 6.
It's pretty poor, huh?
The writing is really ham-fisted, and the problem is that it whittles down America's character to attributes of her, and that's my biggest problem.
Oh, like, yeah.
A lot of people will kind of, they'll talk about all the SJW bullshit, but it's just like, well, America is more than just kind of a lesbian Latina person. Like,
but that's what they kind of make it out to be.
That's kind of how they write her, and that's like her whole character. It's like, dude, she can punch through like dimensions. That should set up some of the most baller stories ever. But
that should be in the descriptions of all the issues, like the first line.
This would be America can punch through dimensions and travel through different realities again on another adventure.
Right.
But this Miss or Dr. Okorafor, actually, she's in her 40s. She seems pretty experienced. She's put out, I want to say, probably like 10-ish books, couple novellas. And she does a lot of stuff that's like sci-fi, fantasy, and speculative fiction. She's also won quite a few awards, like a Nebula Award, Hugo, Macmillan, Carl Brandon Parrell. I've never heard of that. Children's. Wow. She's won quite a few awards. And so I think it's good that they're kind of testing the waters with this writer instead of throwing her right on a book, which is, they did the same thing with like the writers for World of Wakanda, and that book sadly flopped despite it having a somewhat interesting premise. So, you know, it's a completely original character. Like, Wakanda's, I think, the closest experience we've had to African representation in Marvel Comics, and that does not exist.
Very minimal.
So I think it'll be interesting to just have a little short story that kind of ties into Venom, and you get to see, like, an actual writer from that country tell us about, like, a superhero from that culture. So, you know, I think they might have made a good choice here, but we'll find out. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, man? I hope it's good.
Yeah, I think it's going to boil down to me. It's like, I hope it's good. It's tied to Venomverse, and I'm not too sure how that'll perform. I mean, if it's a silly concept, then maybe it may water down the potential of, you know, this character, Ngozi being good in her story. But like you said, the creator and the writer seems like she's talented and, you know, has a pretty good previous catalog, so that makes me confident. And like you said, like I'm from Ethiopia, and, you know, I don't read comics about, you know, a superhero from Ethiopia, so I think it's cool that they're doing that.
On the bright side, it's only 8 pages, so if it sucks, it's just there.
It'll just be 8 pages, and if it does well, they'll make 16 next time.
Yeah, like, I mean, I would, if it's good, I wouldn't mind seeing a limited run, but maybe shift her over to America. Maybe she's the one who needs to write this book, since she does fantasy and high concept sci-fi and all of that. But I think that wraps us up for the week. So yeah, Michael mentioned before, if you want to ask us questions like that, just drop it down in the comment section below with that hashtag #AskMarvelite. Where can people find you at, boy?
Yeah, y'all can find me over on my YouTube channel at Failwell34, or my social media pages at Failwell34 on Twitter and Failwell34 on Instagram.
And I've been your host, Will. You can find me on my YouTube page and my social media as Will the Greatest, except Twitter, because I don't have a Twitter. But yeah,
he's too savage.
Fucking 21 Savage. But we've been your host this week, and we hope you guys have a good one. We will see you guys next week. Peace.